And we're going to try that again. Okay, that's twice. Obviously, this is the first time we have done this one. One more time. We don't have an opening song, but we think that we need an opening song. So I sat down and wrote an opening song. Sorta. Load up a bowl or roll up a joint. It's time to tell me to get to the point. There's not many words that rhyme with joint. Writing songs is hard. So welcome to Gear Wizard TV. Said welcome to Gear Wizard TV. One more time. Welcome to Gear Wizard TV. Fuck it, let's line up. Good evening and welcome, potheads, to Gear Wizard TV. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Keef, terpenes, and we're going to play another episode of What's in the Box. We might even look at a piece of gear that I feel like sharing. But before we do all that, allow me to introduce the man who rolls the blunts and drives the van, JD.
Hey, thank you, my friend. I'm happy to be here. And as always, there's just one question that's first and foremost on my mind. What are we smoking tonight, Wizard?
What are we smoking tonight, indeed? So, tonight I packed something a little special. I mean, they're all special, right? This is, I know it looks like any other cone you might buy off the shelf. It looks like any cone you might roll yourself. But no, this is Raw's boosted cone line, Raw boosted cones. So this cone, it's got like a triple dose of something. Mainly though, it's terpenes. It's been infused with terpenes. They don't tell you the exact terpenes, but they call it lemon jack. So I'm going to guess there's a lot of limonene in it. And then also something I wish they would tell me more about, herbal cannabinoid activators. So, I'm sorry, hacktivators. Cannabinoid hacktivators, as they call it. That is supposed to, kind of like the entourage effect we're going to talk about tonight, blend in there and amp everything up a little bit. Now, interesting, works best with strains containing at least 0.1% CBD.
That is interesting.
So
And you use them.
tonight, we stuffed this. It is mostly a strain called Hand Banana. This is from a small craft grower here in Vermont, Bushy Beard. Bushy Beard, one of my favorite of the Vermont growers. And then I put a little bit of Remedy in it, which is a CBD strain that I like to buy and smoke a lot of. So a little bit of a blend.
You use that word terpenes. And I know that you're going to be talking tonight about terpenes.
Yes, what would you like to know about terpenes?
Well, I don't want you to get ahead of yourself, but I would like to know what are terpenes for the folks listening and myself, who's not that familiar.
What are terpenes? What aren't terpenes?
Okay.
That makes no sense.
Am I a
Terpenes
terpene?
are they're floral compounds. They're plant compounds. Many plants have them. Lots of plants have them, but cannabis has the most of them. And they've been used for centuries in folk medicine. They've been used in aromatherapy, and we're going to talk tonight about how that interacts with, how that works with cannabis specifically.
You also used the term entourage effect, which is a term that I see a lot mentioned in THC literature that I read. And it's
And that's
not
going to
about
be,
the HBO show, right? It has nothing to do with that.
it's funny you say that. That's going to be a callback later.
Okay.
That's going to be a callback later. But no, it is not. It is, well, I don't want to spoil it.
Cool.
Hang on. You're going to learn about the entourage effect later if you
I'm
didn't
going
know.
nowhere. Good.
So what did, what have you done since last we got together?
A lot of work. Not much else. Yeah, a lot of work.
What have you been smoking?
What have I been smoking? Well, I have my Jack Herer vape pen that I've been smoking. It's a nice daytime. Um, doesn't give me too much energy. Doesn't bring me down too much, but just kind of, it's a good one throughout the day. Just if I need a little something throughout the day, grab it, take a hit or two, and it just
I
keeps me
love
sort of nice
Jack.
and balanced. Yeah,
I love Jack. One of my favorite strains.
Jack and Sour Diesel, I find, are two strains that can kind of smoke all day and not really, not ever get too heady, not ever get too, not get too high, not get too high, but just sort of be right in that Goldilocks zone.
And for the people who are watching along, let me just remind you, speak up. Don't be afraid to comment. We love to hear from y'all. And if you talk, might become part of the show.
Talk, we will answer.
Well, what's up first, JD?
So, first on today's docket, we have Keef discussion. Mick, tell us about Keef. That old word.
Keith. So the discussions, this is a new show, everybody, and still kind of figuring our format out. What we want to do with discussions is have a time where we can just bring up a topic, talk about it a little bit, and really just kind of see other opinions than just mine, hear what JD thinks about it. Hopefully, open it up to the crowd and have y'all weigh in on these things. This particular week, Keith has been on my mind a lot. I've gone through my own Keith adventures, I guess we could call them. I don't know. But I've seen a lot about Keith lately. I've gotten at least one email wanting me to read an article about saving Keith and what to do with Keith. And then I saw an article online about it. So back in the day, I remember being very excited to get my first 4-part grinder where you would have the Keith that would fall off and collect down in the bottom. And boy, did I use it. And boy, did I grind stuff up. And I collected that Keith and I saved that Keith. And every once in a while, I'd use it. Never as much as I collected. And that's probably just me. I remember I wanted to save a bunch up and I compressed it and I made a puck, like a little piece of hash. And that was fun. But I don't know. It hit me one day. Actually, we'll pause there. So after a while, I realized I had all this Keith. I didn't use enough of it, and various other reasons. I decided to stop, and I have not used a 3-stage, 4-stage grinder since. And I'm kind of over it. And I'll tell you more why later. But I wanted to get somebody else's opinion. How do you feel about Keith?
You asked me earlier, and I didn't know exactly how to answer because I felt like I was a little ambivalent about Keef. But I like Keef. I've got one of those grinders as well, the 4-stage grinder. I feel like Keef is fun to save. It's fun to just sprinkle into a joint sometimes. I wasn't not as into collecting it as you are, but I do like to just sort of let it build up. You just sort of sprinkle it in when you, when you really want to get higher than I was talking about ordinarily being, right? It's nice if you're really just wanting to sit down, roll up a nice fat joint, sprinkle some Keef in there, and just say goodbye to the rest of the day. That's kind of where I am with Keef. It's like a little bonus. It's like, you're getting not free weed, but almost free weed.
So I get that, and I felt like that for a long time. But again, I'm gonna wait for a second and see if anybody else wants to speak up. Nope, story of my life, and that's okay. So here's what I think, or not what I think. This is where my mind went one day. I'm looking at this and I'm saving all this Keef up and using it occasionally, like you said. Let's do a little boost, which is a whole other issue. But I realized one day all my other smoking has been diminished. Because that's not free weed. That's not free Keef. That's Keef that would have been in the joint you smoked yesterday.
You're just putting the Keef right back in.
Right. I'm
So
leaving it where it came from.
okay. So
And
you're
maybe
not using the 4-stage grinder.
not
You're
anymore.
just
No.
you're just grinding it all up
All of my
and diffusing all
grinders,
of it.
because of course I have several. There's the living room grinder and there's the office grinder and there's the grinder that goes with me in my purse.
Uh-huh.
Because you never know where you're gonna want to smoke.
I didn't know you carried a purse, but
Actually, that's a whole. I'm gonna smoke wherever I go. Yeah, I call it a purse. That
it's a European thing.
no, it's fucking purse. And maybe we'll have a purse discussion one night. I don't know.
Maybe
But no,
the
it's fucking
benefits of the
purse.
purse
It's
versus
an
the
awesome
benefits
purse.
of the fanny pack versus
And actually now I have two purses.
briefcase. I would carry a purse before I carried a briefcase.
Oh man, the briefcase years. That was the lowest I've ever been.
I I was a child in the briefcase years. My dad used to go to work every day with a briefcase with locks on it because
I couldn't do that.
no locks on yours.
Now I went to the cloth briefcase. I
Ah.
was a rebel. Even when I was trying to fit in, I couldn't. But anyway, where were we? We were talking
We
about
were on
grinders.
Keef
I
and grinders
digress.
and how
Yeah.
you don't use the Keef
So
because
no,
you just
they are
grind it all up.
now all of my grinders are two stage. So all of my Keef is going in the bowl or it's going in the J.
And do you ever miss it? I mean,
I don't. I don't.
so what do you do
I
when you want a little something extra? When you want to boost your joint up a little bit? Terpenes.
I
You
smoke a
find
little
the
more.
okay.
I just smoke a little more.
You cracked the code there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where I am. Maybe it's just an efficiency thing.
All right. Well, that is mixed thoughts on Keef and how he hates it. Hates it.
I wouldn't say I hate it.
Hates it. So, Mick, You subscribe to a mail order something like a mystery box.
No, no, that's not what this is. Not
Oh.
at all. Yeah. So no, what this was, every few months, I will get the urge to go online to various places and order various things. But this week is a box I ordered from King Palm via their online store that I filled up with specifically some new things and goodies that I wanted to revisit again in the opening segment of the show. So some special rolls and wraps. Let's see what's in the box. You might think, would know what's in the box. And I know a few of them. But I've slept and smoked a lot of weed since I ordered it, so there's going to be some surprises. Of course, it's hard to open.
What's in the box?
So if you're not familiar with King Palm, they are most known for their palm leaf blunt wraps that have a corn husk filter in the bottom. You can get them plain, or you can get them with flavor capsules in them that you pop. And you'll see them in a lot of dispensaries. But if you go to the website, you can order everything. And they have so many more flavors than they can carry at any of the dispensaries. But then they also carry a lot of other specialty things. Really cool site if you haven't been. One thing I like when you order from them, the tissue paper that they wrap your stuff in is branded.
The name of that site one more time is
King Palm.
KingPalm.com.
King Palm. Yeah, and it's just kingpalm.com.
They are not a sponsor yet.
No, we don't have any sponsors.
No, but if
they're
you're
just
watching
somebody
King Palm,
I firmly believe in. I love their products and I use quite a few of them. So the first thing, this is just for my daily use, was a 5-pack of banana cream because I love the banana cream flavored.
sounds delicious.
King Palms.
Does it taste more like a real banana or like a banana candy?
Candy banana. Good. Like a banana runt.
Or Laffy Taffy. Good stuff.
I have no idea what this might be.
Well, let's hold it up.
Okay, so there's 2 pieces. It came in just a plastic Ziploc bag that has all or many of their different flavors on it. And it's got one of their bamboo pokers. I have so many of these things. Like I have a little basket that's just full.
What do you use them for, other than poking?
I just can't get rid of them.
Mm.
It's like an obsession of how many of these can I get? And one day I'm gonna figure out what to do with them.
It's kind of like a Richard Dreyfuss and Close Encounters of the Third Kind thing. Like,
yes, this means something.
Yes.
This means something. But they come in handy for things all the time.
Killing tiny vampires.
I bought a giant one, and you get different sized pokers. They're all just bamboo, but you get the different sizes if you get different sized things. And so I'm going to show you a pipe in a few weeks that I ordered, and you need a wooden tamper for this pipe to work right.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be big. And that was the closest thing I could find because I got one of these that's just nice. It's like twice the size of this one. And it makes a perfect tamper. Anyway, there's one of those, and then there's a mystery cardboard tube. I have never gotten anything from them in all of the ones I've smoked. And it's got a weird sticker on top. What do we have? It says it's just a cherry charm, which is nothing special.
That can't be all it is.
It's all it is. This makes no sense at all. Unless it was a freebie.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm not holding this up well. Yeah,
Cherry
just
charm
cherry charm.
and a crown, which is the logo.
Although I do like that it's a full size one because all you've ever been able to get of the cherry charm ones are the short ones that are like a half gram.
Mhm.
You've not been able to get the full sized ones. Well, it's not full size. It's the second size. There's 4 sizes that you can get.
That's medium.
Yeah, this is a 1 gram.
Stage 2. Okay. And then how big is the largest?
And then there's a 2 and then a 4 or a 5 is the big one.
That seems like a big one.
This is
How
new
many-
packaging because now there's another individual bag. Oh, this makes sense. I ordered a bunch of stickers because I love stickers. And they had a, buy a pack of stickers and it's just a random bunch.
Uh,
I'm sure nobody wants to see all of these.
I want to see at least one of them.
This is like a little
Advertise
pack.
King Palm wherever you go.
Some things need stickers. A lot of these are just straight up advertisement stickers, though. It's like a pack of Red Rains,
Of course.
but it's a sticker.
Yeah. The most intrusive type of advertising there is. You smack that on something that's being advertised until someone comes along with a power washer.
I feel like if I listened to rap, I would know who that guy is.
I don't know.
I think one of the King Palm flavors is his,
Ah,
like his signature flavor.
oh, I don't know who that was either. Just a couple of old guys not knowing who people are.
I don't know who anybody is anymore. It's embarrassing sometimes. Yeah, pretty honestly, kind of a lame set of stickers. They've done better in the past.
What else we have in that box?
But I gotta be honest. What else do we have in the box? This was a freebie. I think it had something to do with it being July when I ordered it. No, I'm not sure. But it was worth everything. So it is a tiny bubbler
Oh, look at that little thing.
that is perfectly sized. Come out.
You look very happy.
Sticky thing. Oh, dude. Perfectly sized.
There you go. And that is the cherry.
That is the cherry charm that is in
Okay.
it. Yes.
Yes.
A little bit of water in there. Nice. A tiny blunt bong.
Very cool. I've
I
never
love-
smoked out of a bubbler that small.
I love the bubblers. I love the bongs. Almost as much as I love the joints. sometimes more. Oh, these are so cool, and I've never had this one. So this is a pre-rolled cone, but it's not paper. It is goji berries that have been blended up and rolled out and allowed to dry as paper.
Aren't goji berries also like a superfood?
That's what they say,
Oh, there you go.
but I think it's going to taste good.
Added bonus. Tastes good and make you live
Probably
forever.
some terpenes, honestly.
Okay. Oh, there's that word again. Terpenes.
And this, I have had one of these before, but I wanted another one. Same thing, but instead of goji,
Blueberries.
blueberries.
That's just a
That
a
is
guess based on the color.
Nice.
Nice.
Blueberries as paper.
Another superfood.
And
Get your antioxidants while you smoke.
oh my god, it smells like blueberries.
That's amazing.
Cause it's blueberries.
It smells like blueberries because it's blueberries.
It's blueberries. And I'm gonna smoke it. Ooh, I could save this till Halloween, and I could smoke this while I'm eating some blueberry.
You're really living the dream over there. I thought you were going to say that you could give it out to trick or treaters at first.
Fuck no. No, that's mine.
Yeah.
I do. I get a box of blueberry and a box of Count Chocula every Halloween.
Do you mix them?
Sometimes, no, not those two.
Okay.
Count Chocula and Frankenberry, yes.
See, Frankenberry and Blueberry, absolutely. Count
And a
Chocula
couple years ago, they re-released Fruit Brute.
I remember that. And isn't there another one?
And Yummy Mummy.
Didn't they release one that's all of them mixed together, or was that like
Yes.
dinosaur
I
with
forgot
Big
what it
Bad?
was called, and I
Okay.
got it, and it was fun. It wasn't as good as any of them together or separately, though.
Uh-huh.
Everything just kind of got lost. Okay, this is not for me. This is for my wife. But these, with the theme of the show today, are perfect. This is a bunch of pre-rolls. They're just hemp cones, pre-rolled, but they're all infused with terpenes.
Terpenes again.
Artificial and, mainly for flavor. But still.
What would you say to someone who says that terpenes are only for flavor and have nothing to do with effect?
If that's what you're going for, cool. We're going to talk. I mean, that's a very important concept. We don't all smoke the plant for the same reasons, and that's okay. For me, it's medicine.
Sure.
It's medicine for my body, and it's medicine for my brain. And I am looking for specific effects at specific times.
Yes.
For one of my dearest friends, his requirement for cannabis is it must have THC. And that is the only thing he cares about. If you try to tell him what name it is, like he doesn't want to hear it.
Will it get me high? Yes.
What is he gonna do? Yeah, will it get me high?
Apply fire. Okay.
That's all I care. He doesn't much care what it looks like. He He knows what he wants, and that's totally cool.
Yeah. We don't turn away any kind of
That's his
smokers or
medicine.
tokers here.
That's what he's looking for. That's
Sure.
what he needs out of this experience. And hell, sometimes I do kind of miss the days where you smoked what you could get.
Do you miss the days? Because I am with you, and I find myself thinking about those days sometimes too. But I don't know if it's just that I miss those days because those days are halcyon and long gone, or if I actually miss the weed from those days.
Oh, I don't miss the weed from those
Okay,
days.
right. Yeah.
It was just a simpler time.
Oh, it was a much simpler time. And there was something about that, you never knew what you were going to get with that weed. Sometimes you could smoke it all day long and feel almost nothing. And then other times you would take 2 hits of a joint and pass it to your right. And by the time it got back to you, you were super high.
Yeah.
So,
And at the time, that was cool. Today, especially after experiencing what it is like now, I can dial that shit in.
right.
And I know what I'm going to get. I know what it's going to do. I keep different jars around for different moods. Like, what are you going to do? Well, then we need some of this.
And that's a whole show unto itself, I think, is what is finding the right strain for the right mood.
Indeed.
Go ahead and write that down.
So yeah, that was some stuff for the wife, and then what else do we have? See, the thing about this is there's so many pieces. Like I'm missing something.
I see you mouthing something, but I don't hear. I don't know if it's because you're just mouthing it or.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say anything. No, I thought maybe I had bought something crazy, but I guess I didn't. So what do you have? Passion fruit, cherry vanilla, red velvet, and blue grape. So nothing particularly amazing this time except for the berry cones and, if I can say it, that rather awesome bubbler.
That little bubbler's pretty cool.
That was the thing.
And that brings us.
Somebody gets a Christmas present wrapped in this every year.
That brings us to our terpenes discussion. Intro to terpenes.
Did you say terpenes? We have visual aids.
I did say terpenes.
Oh, well, yeah, and I missed one. I'm high. I'm gonna miss things. That should be expected. What's in the box? We actually had a thing.
Weed you. You are weed. That actually stands for Weed University.
It does. So Weed You, and we are going to talk about terpenes. The secrets behind the high.
Very sciencey looking background there. Vaguely science.
You know why?
I don't.
Because terpenes are science.
Science.
Terpenes are science.
Indica versus.
And this is a weird place. I know. This is a weird thing to pop up and go, I thought we were talking about terpenes.
I did.
And the first thing you want to talk about is indica versus sativa. But it's worth mentioning. Because today, even today, with everything that we know, everything we've learned, I went to a dispensary Saturday, and It's all sold as this is indica, this is hybrid,
Yeah.
and this is sativa. And that's supposed to imply, this will bring you down a little bit, this will bring you up a little bit. This is a heady thing, this is a body thing, this is right in the middle. At first, that's absolutely not what it means. Indica and sativa are two different species of cannabis. And there's actually three different species of cannabis. So indica is what tended to be grown in like your let's call it a middle zone, Afghanistan, that sort of a climate, that area. So because of the climate where they grew, they tended to have different physical characteristics. And and I am not good with this, but I believe if I remember correctly, and I may not because I'm a stoner, indicas tend to be bushy. They're shorter, they're bushier, and they have fatter leaves. And yeah, that does tend sometimes to also mean that they can have a lot more of the sedating effects or the body high, but not 100%.
Mhm.
So it actually is. And then your sativas were more southern growing, more, tropical, temperate, those areas. Less bushy, and I could have this backwards, but definitely one or the
No,
other.
you're
Less
correct.
bushy,
The indica, it's a shorter and wider.
yeah,
Sativa, longer and
thinner
thinner.
leaves,
Yeah.
but can have a tendency to be a little bit more elevating, but not 100%. Um,
Yeah, the chart that I'm looking at, it says for sativa, uplifting and euphoric, alertness, increased energy. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that those are words that I use.
with some,
Yeah.
I mean, well, hang on, because we'll
Okay.
come back to that. I don't want to put you off. But then we have our ruderalis, which you never hear about.
Not once. Say that word again.
Ruderalis, Cannabis ruderalis, uh, which tended to be the northernmost growing cannabis. And while as a cannabis plant itself, it's not particularly impressive in its THC production, your other two, your pure sativas, your pure indicas are, uh, I don't remember the word, but basically their flowering cycle has to do with light. So when the light goes from longer to shorter at the end of the season is when they flower. And they won't flower until that light change happens. And whenever that light change happens, they will flower. If you plant them late, they're going to flower early. It's that kind of thing. So it's all about the lights. Ruderalis is going to flower in about 8 weeks. Period. Because it's from up north, it has to have a fast growing cycle. It is not uh, light based on its flowering cycle. So you see those used in a lot of home grows because they're easier to grow. They grow faster. Uh, you don't have to mess with the lights, and they produce quicker. You don't get as much because they're going to be smaller plants. But those have been hybrided into a lot of strains that you like
Hmm.
that you can get as being auto flower. So now there's our three types. And just from that discussion, you're going to learn there are no or very few pure indicas or pure sativas and no pure ruderalis. It's all hybrids. Everything's a hybrid. But that also does not determine the high because THC itself is just one factor. It's a cannabinoid. It's the main cannabinoid that gets you high. It is the cannabinoid primarily, almost exclusively, that gives you the buzz, the high that we're talking about. Almost all of these are from cannabis. They do occur in some other places, including your own mind, like our brains produce cannabinoids to
I don't
attach
even
to our
need weed to get high, man.
kinda, sorta, yeah. But it doesn't do the THC, so you don't get high. But anyway, there's a lot of them. We mainly focus on two. These days, a little bit more four. THC gets you high. CBD is the big number two. Does a lot for pain relief. It also works well with the THC in some ways. It definitely makes it less anxiety producing if you're somebody that gets anxious from weed. CBN is one we're just starting to learn about, but it's
I'm
becoming really
seeing it
popular
more and more. Yeah.
for sleep.
Yes.
Like it helps you sleep, and people dig that. Uh, CBN, by the way, is really just THC that has degraded,
So just
and so it
old
is less
weed.
potent. It is less potent. That's what happens when you let your weed get too old. Is the THC degrades into CBN,
Okay.
and you won't get as high, but you're gonna sleep real good.
So on that episode of Roseanne, when they find her old stash and it's from like 20 years ago in a drawer, that probably would have been CBN by that point.
Oh yeah, if that even. By
Yeah.
that long, it's probably all gone. Uh, and there are things you can do to boost the CBN level when you're growing it. Uh, so it's interesting what's going to happen. CBG, I have had a little experience with. Uh, CBG is these days, at least where I run into it, tends to be uh, in hemp weed, which is the very low THC that makes it federally legal, but
Right.
a lot of CBD, and you're starting to see some CBG. It's kind of the opposite of CBN because it tends to be the first one that's made, and all the other cannabinoids uh, come off of. They start out as CBG and then they turn into other things. They call it the mother of all cannabinoids. It's supposed to be really good for glaucoma, though, and it's a very good anti-anxiety without the sedation of some of the other ones that are anti-anxiety.
Right.
And I get some hemp weed sometimes that is high CBG, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. But so those are cannabinoids, and that's what attaches to the cannabinoid receptors. But more importantly, that's what comes from the trichomes. These guys. So when you pick up weed and it's sticky and it's shiny, well, if you zoom in on that, they look like this. And if you
That's
zoom in,
something you never saw back in the day that we were talking about.
yeah,
There was
if you
no
zoom in
sticky,
closer,
shiny weed.
they look like that.
Well, they almost
And
look a little.
and that is where all the goodies are. Well, no, that is where some of the goodies are, because that's where your THC is. That's where your CBN. That's where your CBG, and that's where your CBD.
And those
Those are
little
all in those
crystals.
trichomes. Which which that is when you're smoking keef, that's what you're smoking.
Right.
Keef is those guys by themselves.
And that's why keef is so magical.
Right. But it's also why the high is different if you smoke it alone. Now, blending it
Sure.
is cool, but we'll get to that because I want you to again entourage. So terpenes, right? Now these are different because these are in the plant itself. You're getting this from the flower, not the sticky parts. This is in the green and the purple and all the good flowery stuff. Now a lot of other plants have some terpenes, not as much, but they're out there. And again, these have been used for thousands of years. These other plants, not just the weed. Aromatherapy. and a lot of folk medicine. The terpenes are why the plants have medicinal effects. And folk medicine, it was like, this is good for this. And now we found out, well, it's these guys. It is true. It works. It's these guys. And we're going to talk over the next few weeks about the major terpenes and which ones we think do these things. And in some cases, science is, finally starting to go, yeah, it works.
At the
So
beginning of the show, I asked if I was a terpene. And I see here, found in many plants and some animals. So,
indeed.
okay.
But not only are these cool on their own, like when you get them from other plants, but when these and the cannabinoids go together, that's when the fucking magic happens. Okay? It's we're gonna get to it, but it's like the terpenes are cool, man. I smoke I smoke a lot of terpenes, and I like them, the flavor, but the effects that they have. But we've all smoked Just Keef. You've smoked Just Keef, right?
Yes.
You've hit a vape pen that's like 90% THC or something, and it's flavorless, but it gets you high.
Yes.
It's not really the same, is it?
No.
It's not. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing,
Right.
by the way. For some people, that's what you want, man. That's what you're looking for, and that's cool. That's totally cool, but I want a little more, and that's okay too. Uh, so yeah, the magic, because the cannabinoids are awesome and the terpenes are awesome, but you put them together, and it's the entourage effect. And no, it's not these douche nozzles.
Okay.
Yeah, I had that joke too. It's not those guys. Oh yeah, I hear that song every time. Every time I hear the word entourage, like, oh yeah.
I had forgotten the
Because
entourage.
I watched that show. I'm not ashamed to admit it. You know why though?
We
Jeremy
all did.
Piven.
We
I
all
didn't
did.
care about those guys, but Jeremy Piven
Yeah,
at the time, man, I liked his shtick.
I did too.
That's a movie we're gonna watch, by the way. I don't know if it's technically a pot movie, but I think it counts. We're gonna watch PCU.
That's what I thought you were going to say. It counts. And I say that remembering absolutely nothing about PCU.
And I don't know if it's gonna hold up.
Nothing.
Like I don't know if I'm gonna watch it today and go, ooh, that's cringy. But we'll see.
Probably. It's
Anyway,
hard to watch a movie from the 90s that doesn't make you feel that
what
way.
do we do on this show, folks? We digress.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
Because we like weed.
So yeah, the entourage effect. Now, and I feel bad for making that joke because we just, but that's I'm high. What you gonna do? The entourage effect is where the terpenes and the cannabinoids. What was I saying, man? It's like this dance. They're interacting in this complex dance, and so as you put the different terpenes in there, and you put the different cannabinoids in there, you get a different effect.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's complex because you've got a couple of cannabinoids and then 2 or 3 terpenes. You just change a few things and you're going to get a different effect. And so it's not like it's ABC, or ABCD.
Mm.
There's a lot that can happen here as you make subtle changes in percentages. That it's not a huge thing, again, for some people, but if you're trying to dial in that feeling, if you're looking for the medicine that makes you feel better, and you know where it is, and there are some strains that I can smoke and I am so anxious, like I just want to crawl inside myself, and I have to stay away from those. And then I smoke some weed that my wife can't smoke because it's like she just wants to go to bed. But for me,
what's that one? What's the worst strain for you and anxiety?
green crack.
Yeah.
If I am not in a social environment, especially.
Yeah.
Green crack, well, it's going to be just a crazy night. I'm going to have to smoke something else to come down off of it.
Sure.
Uh, so,
With a
but I
name like
have
Green
anxiety,
Crack.
you know.
Yeah.
I am an anxious motherfucker. That's why I smoke a lot of weed. But I smoke the stuff that makes me not anxious, not the stuff that makes me anxious. And that's where the terpenes come in. It's not sativa or indica, really. Again, that has a use. I'm not saying it doesn't, because for your average person, what's happened is they're just telling you the mood you're going to get from that weed.
Right.
It's not really the plant. It's that's not what it means anymore. Right now, it's just small, medium, or large. But sleepy. I love. There's a couple of strains that we've run into in Boston, especially, who sell pre rolls, and it's just mixed up weed. You're right. It's what's left over when they pack up all the good looking weed. They just grind it together
Yeah.
based on the moods and
Oh.
sell it as a pre roll marked, you know, sleepy, happy, dancy, or something like that.
Okay.
And sometimes that's all you're looking for.
Yeah.
Just here, give me a
Tell
mood.
me
That's what I want.
how I want to feel. Yeah.
And sometimes it's fun to go, ooh, this has a different bouquet. It's like being a wine snob, honestly. When you get to it's the flavors and the
Sure.
taste, sure. Is there anything wrong with being a wine snob? No.
Maybe. No.
Except
No.
wine snobs, the alcohol, that can be a problem. For me, this is medicine, so it's double. It's good. It's fun, and I'm obsessive. I get off on this kind of shit. But yeah, anyway, the total effect is greater
You.
than the sum of the parts. Let's put it in a nutshell. It's not just A, B, C, D. It's what happens when you mix them together. Uh,
Right.
they turn into something different. So, in closing for this week, when you go for the isolates, understand it's cool if that's what you want, but you're missing out on so much because you're not getting the entourage effect anymore. And whether that's a CBD oil, for instance, that's just CBD, uh, it's not as effective as it would be if it had an undetectable amount of THC in it. I'm talking enough where you would not have any psychoactive effects at all. With that little bit of THC, doubles what you get from CBD oil or CBD gummies or any of that. Little bit of undetectable doubles the effect that you would get from that CBD. It's crazy. Uh,
Doubles.
and that's not even a terpene. That's just two cannabinoids that go, hey, when we're together,
Right.
party happens. So yeah, a little bit everything is better though, because now I got my cannabinoids going and then I got my terpenes. So if you can't smoke flower, look for full spectrum products. They exist. People make them. People that care
Yes.
uh, about giving you the high that you deserve.
A friend of
That's what I'm
mine,
saying.
a friend and myself, a friend of mine and my, we were just talking the other day about full spectrum edibles versus just regular edibles and how the full spectrum are. It, like he's got, this particular friend has a very high tolerance, and he was saying like he'll need to take a 50 milligram edible if he really wants to get high. But that if it's full spectrum, he could take like a 20 milligram edible and feel just as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So full spectrum,
So
absolutely.
so yeah, just keep in mind this thing. And I'm a purist. This is why I smoke flower, because everything's right there.
Yeah.
Everything's right there. And it's all together. And I don't want to get spiritual or anything with you, but like it was made that way. Let's use it that way. But that's just me again. Some people can't smoke. do your edibles. They're awesome. Get good edibles.
Yeah. Well, this is usually the time of show where we want to open it up to questions. We don't seem to have any questions at the moment, though. So I am feeling a little bit high myself as we've been going on. Wizard, I know you're getting higher over there. So, I think that might be time for us to sign off. You have anything else before we go?
No,
Jorge?
I think it has been a very good night,
All right. Well, then,
and
friends,
I
yeah.
think we can call it a night.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And as long as we can remember our login info, we'll see you right here next week on Gear Wizard TV, where we'll be talking more about terpenes and whatever else the wizard and I come up with to talk about.
Good night, everybody. Rock on and clean your gear.
We'll see you next time.